There has been, in fact, very interesting, the biggest positive aspect of Gujarat water economy has been that in 1990s, there was a huge well recharging movement in Gujarat, which was actually a people's movement. It started with a small effort by some innovators that just to build the groundwater level, let us just divert the local stream into existing dug wells through a small desilting chamber. And that caught up like a wildfire later on. And religious organizations like Swaminarayan Sampradaya and Sadi Parivar and lot of others joined that. Yeah. And then later on, the state took up. The state, which when the Narmada Bachao Andolan was agitating against the project, the state says that there is no alternative for Gujarat's water problem. And for Kutch, it was actually Sardar Sarovar pushed in the name of Kutch and Saurashtra and North Gujarat. And they said there is no alternative for them. But when this movement caught up, the Gujarat government also took up this issue in a major way. And there was a parallel movement of check dam building. Again, it started with small organizations and then caught up by religious organizations and other social organizations. And then state also took up in a massive way. They have built more than 20,000 check dams in that area. And that has actually, Tushar Shah and others have studies show that it is this kind of effort which has helped recharge groundwater, which has helped water make available when it was there, and some other combination with electricity availability and some other market-related factors, which has led to the phenomenal successful agricultural growth rate of Gujarat, and not big irrigation projects. Salinity ingress is a big problem. This has been the problem since 80s actually. In 1980s, Gujarat government woke up to this problem after, they had dammed every one of the rivers that is flowing into particularly in Saurashtra, where the coastal line is there. And the fresh water was no longer flowing, which used to stop it. At the same time, groundwater use was increasing, which again depleted the water table. Now all this, and at the same time, there was no attention to local water systems. All these factors combined led to huge seawater ingress in some places up to 5 kilometers inside the land, which also salinized the available groundwater. So they actually set up a committee, high-powered committee under the chairmanship of Chief Secretary of Gujarat. And they gave 2 high-powered reports, in which actually said number of things which needed to be done, but that never happened. So salinity ingress has continued to be a problem. But after the well recharging movement and after the check dam movement, there has been a number of places where actually because of that, the groundwater recharge levels have gone up and salinity has decreased. And this has happened along the coastal area also. And this indicates the direction in which we will need to move if we want to solve this problem. There are a number of reports I have quoted here. I'm not going into details into this, but one can go into later if there are questions. Then there is a major issue I would like to flag is how do you manage the existing large dams in Gujarat? And there is a issue of need to ensure a transparent and responsive operation of the projects, the reservoirs. And this is particularly also relevant in the context of climate change. Now, we had gone into a detailed analysis of what happened in the Tapi River in August 2006. The Surat city in South Gujarat experienced the worst flood in its history in 2006. And that happened starting August 7. August 7 was less than halfway through monsoon in Gujarat. And August 7, the Ukai Dam was full. It should not have been. There is a design flood cushion given in Ukai Dam. It's one of the 3-4 dams, large dams of India. India has more than 5,100 dams, but there are only 3 or 4 large dams in India where design flood cushion is given. Ukai is one of them. So there is a 1.3 billion cubic meters of flood storage that was supposed to left empty till almost the end of till 20th of September. But lo and behold, the dam was almost full on 7th August 2006. From 7th August, they had to suddenly, there was so much inflow into the dam, and there was also at the same time, there was a rainfall in the downstream area, and it was also a time of high tide. They had to release more than 7 lakh cusecs of water from the dam. When the downstream channel, the carrying capacity of the downstream river was 3 lakh cusecs. And this has been documented by the National Commission report. There is a box in National Commission report which you were a member of, where they showed that in 1990s there was similar flood. And after that they had estimated that what is the carrying capacity of the river. And they estimated it was 3 lakh cusecs. By 2006 it would have reduced further because of the encroachment. But they released in that river more than 7 lakh cusecs when the downstream area was also experiencing floods. And interestingly, before 7th March, a week before 7th March, there were heavy rains in the upstream catchment area in Maharashtra and Madhya Pradesh. A friend of ours was standing on 6th August, Times of India correspondent, who told me himself that he was sitting in collector's office and they were assessing the situation. And the collector of Surat she was a lady, I forget her name. She was pleading with the UKAI chief engineer that please release water because my friend from Nandurbar collector in the upstream is telling me there is heavy rainfall last 1 week and all that water is going to come to UKAI. And the chief engineer of UKAI was saying, I can't release based on your orders. I have to get orders from Gandhinagar. He was also violating the rule curve. Every dam in India is supposed to have a rule curve. They are supposed to fill up the reservoir according to the rule curve. So a certain date, only certain level of water can be filled up. That was also being violated. But he refused to release water. The water release on this till 6th August was about 30,000 cusecs. When they should have released more than 3 lakh cusecs, they could have released. If they had started releasing 3 lakh cusecs from 1st of August, then our estimate said there would have been no floods in Tapi and Surat in that year. I will not go into description of this, but okay, let us go into the description of this flood. I think it's very important also in the climate change context, because in the climate change context, we will need to tweak our reservoir operation, considering what is the rainfall likely to in the upstream, what's already happening in upstream, how it is going to visit the reservoir, how is the downstream area going to have the water, when is the high tide is going to happen, and accordingly we need to do that. If we don't do that, we invite disasters, avoidable disasters, dam-induced disaster. That also happened in 2008 in Hirakud. It happened in 2011 in Hirakud. And it also happened in 2009 in Krishna Basin. I can go into details of each of them. But here let us focus on what happened in UKAI. On 7th August, a massive flood engulfed Surat after release of water from UKAI Dam on Tapi River. 150 people died directly due to flood. 1,000 died due to epidemic. 30 lakh people were affected, 1,500 cattle died. Direct industrial loss was 16,000 crores of production, 6,500 crores, direct industrial loss. Loss of production 6,500 crores, loss of public infrastructure 2,500 crores, loss of etc. Lot of huge losses. It's completely avoidable. It is not just our contention. There was a committee set up. A people's committee under a retired former Chief Justice of Gujarat High Court, who is also now been appointed the Lokayukt. And Gujarat government, one of the reasons Gujarat government is opposing his candidature as a Lokayukt is because he also gave that report. He said that this was completely avoidable flood, that commission said. And that could have been avoided if the UKAI managers had looked into what was the rainfall in the catchment, and they have followed the rule curve and followed the design capacity of the downstream river. The trouble is that the underlying issues that caused the UKAI mishap are still not been addressed. So what needs to be done, actually it's very important in the context of rivers also, that of course we need environmental flows, and none of the Gujarat rivers are doing that. But also every dam we need a responsive, transparent operation. And in which, daily in monsoon, the dam operator must put it in public domain. What is the level of water? What is the inflow? What is the outflow? What is the estimated inflow? What is the estimated rainfall? And what is the estimated rainfall in the downstream area? And what is the reasoning of their operation, specific operation? And it also needs to be accountable to the people. And for that, we believe there needs to be every dam needs to have a monitoring committee in which local communities must be 50% representation. And that's why we can make it responsive, transparent, and possibly accountable. And if we don't do it, we will invite a lot more disasters.